Hello, I hope all is well. So, I really enjoy God Wars Dungeon and have pretty much ever since it first came into the game many years ago. The problem I face now is I really want to solo the generals, but I don't do too well. My trips don't last super long, which reduces my chances of getting any sort of good drops. And it's also hard for me to coordinate with any sort of teams just because of my hectic schedule right now. So part of my long-term plan has been to train up my combat alt so I could solo with myself, or duolo, I guess, if you will, with my main and my alt. So here is my main and the setup I use. I do not have full best in slots for everything. I do have the Justiciar and the Blood Fury. I probably will never have an Infernal Cape in this game. I also don't have the Ring of Suffering imbued. I don't have any Nightmare Zone points, and I really don't want to go back there, so I'm just going with the Berserker Ring Eye, and I also went with the Bandos Boots, just because otherwise I did not have a Bandos item for getting here. So here is my inventory setup. Normally I juggle the hammer and an extra food, but I accidentally ate it, so I wasn't about to turn back for one extra food, but I do bring just a few brews, and I bring Bones to Peach's tabs because any extra healing is going to help me sustain these trips. So here is the alt I use. You can see it is not very impressive. The stats are not that high. It's only a level 98, packing that juicy 82 range. Also, I don't really have particularly good gear for it either, so I'm pretty much just using God D'hide with an Anguish, a Diamond Bolts E, and the Dragon Hunter crossbow. I know the Armadale crossbow is better. I don't have that at the moment. I guess I could go buy one, but this seems to do alright. I did bring along a Guthan set for healing on the minions in between. So I'm figuring between the healing of the Guthans, the Bones to Peaches, and the Blood Fury, along with the Ceridum and God Sword spec on my main, I should have a lot of overall healing and much extend my trips. So the way I approach this fight is not too different from how I do the solo. So I take my main / tank in there, and I try to do 2 hits and then the walk under with Protect from Melee on and the super high range defense. The problem is my total magic defense is only like +6, so I do get hit pretty hard by the mage minion, while my alt sits there in the corner with Protect from range on and takes almost no damage during the entire fight because he's not taking anything from Graardor, and as long as he does not deal the final blow, the minions will not get on him either. So really, the food on that account ends up largely going just to supply the tank and help me keep those trips going. But in this case, the alt did get the kill, so he kind of gets piled. It's a little bit harder for him because he's much lower stats and worse gear. I also want to point out that I'm not a particularly good PVMer by any stretch of the imagination. I have a pretty high level main and a level 98 alt. If you have comparable accounts, I'm pretty sure you will be able to do this as well. And really, I would be a lot more effective if I had 2 main level accounts instead of 1 main and then 1 level 90s kind of mid-level account. But this is really not hard to do. I went from getting like 2 kills per trip as a solo, maybe 3, to 10 to 15 for fairly consistently with this setup. I think the hardest thing that takes some getting used to is the in-between trips. You got to have it pretty well orchestrated. So I take Alks on the alt, so if there's anything alkable, I'll trade it over there. I have Bones to Peaches tabs on the main, so I make sure I trade all the bones over so that I can get all that extra healing. And then you also got to make sure both accounts are healed up and the prayer is up, and that you do not get surprised by Graardor and get caught with your prayer down, because that can end your trip prematurely and you do not want that. Graardor really is a great boss for this Duolo setup, and I'm really glad Torva was introduced into the game, if for nothing else than to help prop up Bandos item pieces values long term. But the way I look at it, this is fun for me even if I'm not getting rare drops, and that's what the game should be all about. Though if I can increase my kills and consistently get about 15 per trip, I see it as having about a 7 to 8% chance of getting a really good drop. Speak of a really good drop, I did manage to get a Bandos chestplate, got the drop on the alt, just 6 KC total for the alt. Normally my main gets the kill, I think he's got like 130 kill count or something like that, but super crazy to get that on just one of my first few trips of using this method. So really lucky there, definitely going to keep it up. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.